Tonight for dinner was homemade Alfredo pizza. I was actually going to use a already prepared pizza crust, but I normally get my pizza crust from Thrive Market, and unfortunately we had already eaten what we had, so at the store the only options that they gave me were horrible. After reading the ingredients on the back, I just could not get myself to buy it. So I decided just to go ahead and make my own dough and try to make some pizza crust. And honestly, it turned out pretty good. My daughter loved the crust, but for some reason, I had to add like 50 gallons of flour, and I'm only half exaggerating. It just would not firm up. As you can see, it was just a sticky mess. I don't know why. Maybe because it was gluten-free flour. I assume the recipe might have just called for regular flour. It worked nonetheless, and like I said, it tasted great. I did, however, forget to add the salt, so you'll see a little later in the video where I literally just sprinkle it on the dough once it's spread out on the pan, but it worked just the same. Now, the recipe did say you could use the dough right away or you could let it rise for an hour. I did choose to let it rise. I also almost forgot to start the chicken. I normally use a knife and just cut the fat off and cut up and dice the chicken really good. I decided to use scissors, which actually took a lot longer. I also like to cook my chicken until it starts to brown and crisp, and I think it is delicious. It also helps that I add a half stick of butter, and sometimes I even add an entire stick. That, my friends, is the secret. Don't forget to spray your pan with non-stick spray if needed. That's very important. And patting out this dough onto this pizza pan was incredibly easy. It took zero effort. I did have more flour on standby if I needed to sprinkle that on top to help with the stick. I ended up not needing it. I also punched some holes into the dough. Am I supposed to? I have no idea. I just thought that's what you did. This Alfredo sauce is definitely a 10 out of 10 when it comes to quality and taste. The ingredients are absolutely superb. I get it from Thrive Market. Now, I probably could have used a lot more sauce, but maybe for next time. And here I am sprinkling on the chicken. I'm trying to eyeball it and make sure I do half on one pizza, half on the other. The cheese I used is the cheese that I had on hand. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It was really strange with Alfredo pizza. I would have chosen Parmesan. That would have been my first choice. And then maybe mozzarella if I didn't have Parmesan. The Mexican blend was just very strange. And I also had to make sure I cut up some onions for my husband because he is obsessed with onions and he pretty much uses them in every dish that he eats. Now, the recipe I used did say to set the oven to 500 degrees, which I thought was incredibly high to bake a pizza. So the first pizza, I actually did that and it looked like it burned a little bit, and then the dough was kind of not completely done in the middle. So the second pizza I put it at like 475, and I cooked it a little bit longer, and that seemed to work a lot better. My daughter gave it a 6 out of 10, and my son only ate the chicken.